Welcome to the Sensual Feminine Life podcast. I am your host, Jen Bagaiski, where I will take you on a deep dive into your own life so that hidden, hurting parts of your soul can be healed. This is a podcast about love, sex, pleasure, and relationships. You will learn how to feel safe, to truly love and connect with your body. Surrender to the desires and hungers of your soul and step into the beautiful, sensual, feminine, sexy, and powerful woman you were created to be. I believe deeply in my soul that sexuality is the missing key in personal growth and development. It is time to toss away all of the nonsense you have been taught about these taboo topics and heal your relationship to your sexuality. You can eliminate shame and guilt, own your sexy confidence, feel incredible in your skin, embrace the depths of exquisite pleasure, and have the deeply connected relationships you truly desire. Grab your cozy socks, pour yourself a glass of wine, get comfy, and let's get started. Hello, lovely souls, and welcome to episode 4 of the Sensual Feminine Life podcast. And this week, we are going to be talking about living a sensual feminine life. And what does that mean? And why do we want that? Well, the 3 key outcomes in living a sensual feminine life are sexy confidence, thriving relationships, and exquisite pleasure. So let's dive deeper into what those things mean. Sexy confidence. Who does not want to feel beautiful, sexy, confident, and desired, right? This goes back to that sex dream that I like to call with the woman in the green lingerie, right? I wanted to have this sexy confidence. And so many women out there want to have that same thing. But how do you achieve that? How do you get to that place of being confident and sexy? And a few components of this are really learn to accept who you are, your desires, your feelings, and your needs. And some of this is actually knowing what those are. I can't tell you how many women I speak to that they say, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I desire. Well, we can't feel sexy confident if we don't know what we desire. So one of the things that I do in my programs, in the Sensual Feminine Life program, is to talk about these 3 topics. So if you want to feel sexy confident, one of the other things that happens is it allows you to release tension or discomfort in the body. So many of us have tension, discomfort, pain in a variety of different levels. And when you actually can step into and feel that confidence in your body, you relieve some of that pain and tension. You know, I've had people say to me for years, they're like, well, do you have any physical ailments? And I'm like, no, not really. And I think part of the reason for that is because I have an intentional focus on pleasure and connecting with the body. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But when you can stop hating the body, not liking the body, you can then start releasing the tension, pain, and discomfort in many, many different ways. This is also about feeling comfortable and celebratory of your body, no matter what your shape or size. Now, there are so many different empowerment programs out there that say, especially to young girls, right? Feel comfortable in your skin, which is wonderful. We need to be talking about that with our teenage girls and even with our adults, right? Because there are many of us women who are still not celebratory of the bodies that we have. When you can get to a place where you can enjoy the beauty and radiance of being a woman, you can own that sexy confidence, right? This is about knowing the fact that men and women's bodies are different. God made us differently, right? There's another episode that talks specifically about boys and their bodies and girls in their bodies and what we have been taught and what we as women have been afraid of. And maybe not necessarily ashamed of, but afraid of, right? We don't want to be too sexy because we don't want someone to get the wrong opinion. But when you can love and embrace and adorn your body because you are a woman, that is hot and sexy in itself, right? You don't have to wear something really skimpy in order to have sexy confidence, right? And in fact, this reminds me of a story of a man who I interviewed in one of my upcoming books. And he talked about the fact that he and his wife were on a trip overseas and they were walking along a beach. And there were a bunch of, pencil stick figure women on the beach who did not catch his attention. But there was a woman who was a little bit more than overweight. And she was walking on the nude beach. And his eyes were just attracted to her. And what's funny about this story is that he was actually walking with his wife, right? And they joke around about it. But what was fascinating is it was a heavier set woman who was in her skin. It didn't matter what she was wearing or not wearing. And if she had the right curves or figure or perky boobs or tight butt, right? Like the pencil stick figure women were. And so many of us want to be like that pencil stick figure women and then get mad at ourselves when we're not. But this man was physically attracted to this overweight woman whose energy and radiance was just beaming. That is what I mean by sexy confidence, right? I want to help you get to a place where you love yourself unconditionally. It is that self-love, self-respect, self-value, and self-worth. And it is not just saying it. We know we need to focus on self-care. There are so many of us that talk about it. But we need to live it, do it, and breathe it every day. And when you can embrace that kind of confidence, it shows. You will attract more of what you want in your life and your business, in your relationships, when you can own that sexy confidence. Okay, the next thing is thriving relationships. So all of us want to have that intimacy, connection, that deeper closeness and communication with our partner. So in diving deeper into being a sensual feminine woman, you can heal damaged or drifting relationships, right? If you are in a relationship or a marriage right now that has even a little bit of tension or struggle, right? I encourage you to really take action now. What I have not shared yet in any of my earlier episodes was that I was married for 20 years. I was not happy, but I didn't do anything about it. I thought I was supposed to stay married and be unhappy. I felt like I tried everything under the sun. And anyone who is listening, who is in a partnership, I want you earlier in your marriage to take action in this space. Because let me tell you, it makes a huge difference. I mentioned one of the earlier episodes that my ex-husband and I were in a group called Worldwide Marriage Encounter. I have been dealing in love and relationships since I was pregnant with my second son. So 21 years ago, I have been diving into the love and relationship space and connection in marital relationships, right? But one of the things that we were never taught was what you need to do as a woman to show up differently in that relationship. And there are many relationships that can turn from being the light shut off to the light being turned on, right? I have had many clients where that has happened. And then there are other clients where, in my case, where we decided that it was better for us to move on and live our own separate lives in the way that we wanted to move on. But it's important for you and an example for your children to teach yourself and them what it means to have a thriving relationship. So many of us women want to feel desired and cherished by our partners, right? We love romance. We want to have that sensory experience, right? And this is something that I will be diving deep into in these episodes as well as my program, because we need to tap into our senses, right? When you can embrace all of your senses, you can connect with the body. And when we want to feel that desired, cherished by our partner, the romance, right? It's like you want all of these things combined. And this program will help teach you how to be in a place where you can feel desired, feel cherished in your own body, and then have that man of yours feel the same towards you. You create more intimacy, passion, and romance in your life, right? And to be able to share exquisite depths of intimacy, physical, emotional, and spiritual, right? This is where, when you start talking about sacred sexuality, there are so many levels to this, right? I have been studying more of tantric components and sacred sexuality and how you can bring